Yo, what's up guys? I'm here to tell you all about worms because, well, that's what I picked and that's what I'm assigned to do. So right off, we're gonna start with top 10 worm facts because it'll be hard to get to later. It's also hard to get through my papers currently. Okay, here we go. Gonna start things off easily at number 10. Fossil evidence shows that earthworm-like creatures have been around for at least half a billion years, surviving the mass extinction of animals about 65 million years ago that finished off the dinosaurs, among others. There have been earthworms that have been discovered as much as 2 miles below the surface of the Earth. Down there, temperatures can reach as high as 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Today, there are about 6,000 species of earthworms known, of which about 120 species are widely distributed around the world. Meaning, like, you could pick up a worm here in the United States, or you could fly to Japan and pick up a worm there, and you might get the same worm that you picked up here. Number 9. Earthworms have no eyes, but they can sense light, particularly on their front end. Yes, they have a front end. They're worms. That doesn't just mean that their whole body is just a tube that moves around. They use this sense to make sure they avoid as much light as possible. Most varieties of earthworms cannot handle direct sunlight for long. This is for two reasons. First, because they can't allow the mucus on their skin to dry out, or they will suffocate. Second, because most also can't handle direct exposure to UV rays for more than a few minutes to an hour. Which I find kind of cool because, well, what if... I don't know. What's the It makes me think about the mucus. Why is it there? If they are exposed to UV light too long, they will become paralyzed and die quite quickly. Which is kind of a cool fact. What if you guys had to spend every minute of your lives trying to stay away from the sunlight, or else you would paralyze and die? Number 8. Even though earthworms need to breathe, they have no lungs. Rather, they breathe through their skin. This is why earthworms surface after heavy rains, though it is extremely hazardous for them to do so. The high water content of the soil after heavy rains doesn't allow gases to diffuse across their skin, so if they don't surface, they will suffocate and die. So, they're not allowed to go outside during the day or they suffocate and die, and they can't go outside during heavy rains because, they can't stay inside after heavy rains because they will suffocate and die. Number 7. South African earthworms can grow as large as 22 feet long, with the average length being about 6 feet long. The largest one ever found so far, being 22 feet long, was found on a roadside in 1967. And no, I'm very sorry it does not tell me where this alleged roadside is. Number 6. Earthworms not only work tirelessly throughout their lives, cultivating and fertilizing soil for plants to grow, but also form the basis of many food chains. They are a staple for many types of birds, snakes, moles, hedgehogs, beetles, snails, slugs, and also are eaten by a variety of mammals such as foxes, bears, humans, etc. Charles Darwin went so far as to say of earthworms, it may be doubted whether there are many other animals which have played so important a part in history of the world as these lowly organized creatures. He believed that earthworms are wholly responsible for the top layer of rich soil on the Earth, not Earth. That's a really bold claim, but I suppose he was right. You try cultivating and farming a land mass for 70 years and figure it out. Well, guys, we're halfway there, which means that I'm gonna go ahead and take a break from this reading because it kind of hurts my eyes, if you haven't noticed. And alright, I think our break is a little bit over, but first,
let me take a selfie.
alright guys, that oddness is over. You don't have to watch me do that anymore. We're at number 5. Earthworms are able to regenerate most lost ligaments of their bodies, though this varies somewhat from the species to species, and the extent of the damage to themselves. In 1972, it was proven that some species of earthworm are able to regenerate to the extent that you can grow 2 living worms from the bisected worm. One worm. However, this is not common among most earthworm species, with most the side with the head is the only one that survives, assuring the damage isn't too extreme. Meaning that, yes, if you cut me in half, I would regenerate into 2 separate beings, and I could give myself a high five properly then. But if you only cut off my arm, I would be the only one to survive in most species, and the other one would just flail around and die, while I would grow a new arm and continue my amazing life of being human. Alright, number 4. Earthworms are hermaphrodites, i.e. animals with both male and female sex organs, so when 2 worms mate, both worms reproduce children. The worms mate by getting in more or less a 69 position, exchanging sperm with one another. Much later, a cocoon is secreted by the clitellum band, which is visible near the front of the worm. This is roughly ring-shaped, and as it is sliding out of the secreted ring, the worm deposits its eggs and the other worm's sperm into the ring. The ring then seals itself once and the worms is completely out. Eventually, the baby earthworms emerge fully developed and ready to go, processed some of soil and be the staple of a lot of animal diets. I'm so sorry for all the stutters and fumbles, guys. This is actually at about, I think it's like 6:13 this morning, so I'm not really into it. Yeah, 6:15 Monday morning, guys. Just imagine how hard it would be if you were doing this. Number 3. Charles Darwin noted the amazing ability of earthworm to bury things in soil, even entire buildings, as though gradually process soil underneath and around buildings, having it sink deeper and deeper over time. They're also quite efficient at burying the process and processing small things like coins and random bits of garbage, which they will literally grab and pull below the surface, where they can safely process it. Meaning that the little worms underneath our world that we know walk on, they can make they can just go ahead and eat all the soil out from under our house and then eat our house with it. So think about who you mess with before you mess with them, guys. Number 2. Earthworms can consume about 1/2 to a whole times their body weight every day and can process about 10 pounds of organic matter per worm per year. They also will eat just about any dead organic matter, along with processing the variety of garbage and then tiny rocks that have organic matter on them, grinding the rocks into little paste that will enrich the soil. They also force air through the ground tunnels they create, thereby aerating the soil as they work. In the process of doing all this, they process and enrich the soil. They aren't just nature's garbage disposals, but also natural gardeners. So if they were human, they could say they had green thumbs, which I don't, because it's not spring or summertime yet, and I haven't started growing anything in my garden like most of you haven't either. I feel so derpy. Alright guys, number 1, we're there. According to research done at the Rathamested experimental station, depending on soil quality, there can be anywhere from 250,000 to 1.75 billion earthworms per acre of land. Poor quality soil will have closer to the 250,000 range. Good quality soil, such as farmland, will have closer to the 1.75 million worms per acre. This means that on an average farm with livestock, the weight of the worms beneath the surface of the land will likely outweigh the livestock that walk on top. I'm sorry for all the fumbles and jumbles and mumbles, guys. I'm not exactly too good with reading, because my eyes are terrible, and so are my brain. Alright, let's get to some notes here. This is the part that I think that my teacher will be grading. If so, teacher, please grade it well, and please take note that I do have a lot of stuff here, even if it's not going to be long enough for you. Okay, number 1, name, classification, and description of animal. The worm is classified in the phylum of Nematoda. The scientific name of the worm is Lumbricus terrestris. I believe it is that because the internet told me so, but it might not actually be, according to bylaws and all these crazy other things. But now we move on to the body structure. A worm's body structure can range from a segmented body to a flat body to a round, sleek body. All worms obtain oxygen through their skin, which I find kind of cool. I don't know. You guys tell me how cool you think it would be to breathe through our skin instead of a big blobby lung inside of our gut system somewhere in there that hooks up to our throat where we also eat. Reproduction. This crazy thing. Worms are hermaphrodites, meaning the worm is both male and female and has both male and female reproductive structures. A white band forms around their heads that are called clitellum at about 6 weeks old, meaning that about 6 weeks old in their lives they can mate and have children later on in their life with another worm. And yes, if I haven't stated this already, all worms have children. Okay. Obtaining food and oxygen. Segmented worms are usually insectivorous. Respiration cuticular. Most worms are actually respiration cuticular, for most of your information who didn't know that. Flatworms are typically parasitic and have reduced guts, hearts, wait, no, they don't have lungs. Well, etc. They get nutrients from hosts. Roundworms and some non-parasitic flatworms eat smaller invertebrates, bacteria, etc. Tapeworms have no respiratory system, thus the oxygen and carbon dioxide leaves their cells by diffusion through their thin bodies. Oh wait, no, yeah. Okay, movement. Now, I'm sorry, I forgot to state that. In order to move, a worm pushes the muscles in its body into the ground and lifts itself to a farther biotin. I don't know, figure out, could someone tell me what a biotin is? I think I mean that they inch down, maybe. Short bristled hairs on the worm's body help it to get a better grip on ground. Your skin, the inside of your body, ECT. And these hairs also control its speed, which I find kind of cool. What if you could just lay down and crawl all over the place on your crazy miniature hairs that you didn't even know existed because your brain is too small to figure that out for itself. I really hope you guys heard that. If not, I kind of don't care because President Sterling is tired and wishes to eat breakfast early. Nervous system. The worm has a very simple nervous system. The nervous system of worm includes the cerebral ganglion, I think it's pronounced, the ventral nerve cord, and the segmented ganglions. The cerebral ganglion basically functions as a rudimentary brain. If any of you know what a rudimentary brain or a ganglion is, please tell me, because I don't know what they are. Circulatory system. A worm's circulatory system is much like that of mammals. The worms have a closed circulatory system. This means their blood flows through blood vessels. Oxygen is drawn from a dorsal blood vessel. If you know what a dorsal blood vessel is, please tell me. I am led to believe that it is a blood vessel in the middle of their body, maybe, is what I think. Alright then, we're here. The life cycle, the last thing. The worm's life cycle is actually pretty simple. It starts out as a hatchling. Yes, they hatch. They don't just be born out of their worm parents. The worm then grows a bit larger and grows its clitellum band around its throatal area, I think. And the worm then find a mate after about 6 weeks old, and eventually they secrete egg cocoons, and the cycle is repeated. Their symmetry is bilateral, and I'll go ahead and show you a few pictures of bilateral stuff, because I'm too derpy to know what bilateral means. Wait, no, I know what bilateral means. It means, like, my face is bilateral because both sides are equally looking the same. I mean, like my hat, you cut it in half. It is completely the same on both sides. My glasses, you take them off, you cut them right across here. They're exactly the same on both sides, just opposites. Same with my arms, if I had them way out there, but I don't have enough space. In my face, my mouth and nose, they're all the same, guys. So, I'm gonna end the video off now, and hopefully you guys liked all my words and stuff and things and Infonumus. Oh yeah, tell me if Infonumus is a real word, because if it's not, I'm gonna keep on saying it for a long time. Hopefully. Rarg, I'm out.